Hello, good morning, all of you. This is NTA mock test 83. Let us see some of the bits from this MTA mock test 83. It is helpful for both students who have completed their second year and who are taking long term, as well as who are studying their second year now. Okay, this bit first year students, those who are studying second year now, okay, they have learned already in ecology part in one part here. Some points are from botany. Okay, coil lays eggs in the nest of the crow. You learned it is called brood parasitism. Okay, brood parasitism sometimes it is natural, sometimes it is induced. Induced brood parasitism, for example, if you keep the eggs of duck, eggs of duck in a under the hen. Okay, that means those are hatched by the hen. That is induced brood parasitism. It occurs in the natural brood parasitism. Okay, coil lays eggs in the nest of the crow, which is an example of brood parasitism as it is unable to build its nest. Okay, fungal genus Glomus forms mycorrhizal association. Okay, fungal species genus Glomus, okay, forms mycorrhizal association. What type of association? Mycorrhizal association. And trichoderma, trichophyton, epidermophyton, sporum, microsporum, phyton, trichophyton. Next one, trichophyton, epidermophyton. You learned those in the ringworm. Trichoderma is a soil-borne fungus. Those are also fungi, which is used to control another fungal pathogen. That means it is used as a biological control agent. Because sometimes, for example, to reduce the number of larvae of mosquito, we use Gambusia fishes. That is a biological control. If you use insecticides like DDT or BHA, benzene hexachloride, you learned in malaria, that is called chemical control of mosquitoes. Okay, we can use biological control as well as chemical control, which is the desirable one is the biological control. And methanobacterium grows anaerobically on organic substances and produces biogas like dung. By using dung, we can produce biogas. That's the first one. Coil, brood parasitism, mycorrhizae, glomus, and biological control. What are we are using here? Trichoderma and biogas. In the biogas production, we are using methanobacterium, which produces biogas. Methane, it consists of methane. Which of the following structure is having maximum autorhythmicity in the normal human heart? Okay, in the normal human heart, if you see the uh, rhythmicity of different parts, all the cells of the heart have an inherent ability to generate impulse. SAN is the pacemaker of the heart. Rates of impulse generation. Sinoatrial node can generate 70 to 80 impulses or action potentials per minute. AV node can produce 40 to 60. Purkinje fibers also can produce 15 to, okay, as per NCERT textbook, 70 to 75 here. And Purkinje fibers also able to produce. That means different parts of the sinoatrial node. Okay, if you take sinoatrial node, different parts of the nodal tissue. On the top, we have in the right atrium, right corner sinoatrial node, which is producing 70 to 80, and in the left corner of the right atrium, we have, okay, AVN, which is capable of producing 40 to 60. Okay, when SAN is not working, at that time AVN can start producing action potentials, which is capable of producing 40 to 60. When these two are not working, sometimes Purkinje fibers also can produce action potential 15 to 40 times per minute. Okay, that's about this one. Which is the following is structure in the having maximum autorhythmicity in the normal human heart? Purkinje fibers, bundle of his, AV node, SA node. SA node, sinoatrial node is a specialized nodal cardiac tissue. It is not a nerve tissue. which is present in the right upper corner of the right atrium, which can, it is also called as pacemaker, which can generate a maximum number of action potentials 70 to 75 per minute as per state textbook 100, and is responsible for initiating, starting, and maintaining rhythmic contractile activity of our heart. What is that? Sinoatrial node. Okay, that's about that. What is autorhythmicity? It is a unique feature of cardiac muscle cells. These cells are able to generate action potential at a certain rate without any external stimulus, due to which the heart beats continuously and rhythmically. Come to the next one. Okay, this is from excretory products and the elimination lesson, useful for all of you. Which of the following is correct about excretory system in humans? Glomerular filtration rate is 180 for 180 liters per day by both kidneys, and glomerular filtration rate 180 liters per day by each kidney per kidney. Glomerular filtration rate, the blood filtrate is the 100 to 200 ml per minute per kidney, and glomerular filtration rate, the blood filtrate is 200 to 300 ml per minute by both kidneys. Okay, here the correct one is this one. Okay, GFR in the normal individual is healthy individual is 125 ml per. What is meant by GFR? The volume of blood, the amount of filtrate formed by both kidneys per minute is called GFR. Or okay, it is for day, it is 180 liters per day in all the in all the nephrons of both the kidneys. Okay, the glomerular filtration is also called as ultrafiltration. It is the first step in the urine formation, and on an average 1100 to 1200 ml of blood is filtered by the kidneys per minute. How much blood is filtered by the kidneys per minute? 1100 to 1200, that is approximately 1 by 5th of the cardiac output. Okay, this is another one which was asked in a previous NEET exam, but it is not there in uh, zoology. But we have this term chitinous exoskeleton of arthropods. Okay, it's maybe in the botany in biomolecules lesson maybe. Okay, it was asked in the it was asked in previous NEET exam. Which of the following is the most important monomer component of the chitinous exoskeleton of arthropods? Monomer component of chitinous exoskeleton of arthropods. Okay, answer is N-acetyl glucosamine. Okay, chitin is a homopolymer present in the exoskeleton of arthropods, and the cell wall of fungi also consists of chitin, whereas plants have cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, suberin, lignin are present in the cell wall of the plant cell. In the fungi cell wall, chitin is present. It is formed by polymerization of amino sugar N-acetyl glucosamine. N-acetyl glucosamine. Amino sugars are modified. Amino sugars are modified sugars in which what is one of the OH group of the sugar is replaced by amino group. That's why these are called amino sugars, which are modified sugar. In what way they are modified? In these amino sugars, in the sugars there is a one of the OH group is present. That OH group is removed, it is replaced by amino group. That's why these are called amino sugars. Okay, right. Next one, the enzymes that are present in the saliva are, okay, these are the bits that are frequently asked from the digestive juices. Salivary juice, digastric juice, bile juice has no enzymes, pancreatic juice, intestinal juice, which is also called as succus entericus. The enzymes that are present in the saliva are ptyalin, sucrase, amylase, lysozyme, amylase, jamase, amylase, sucrase, ptyalin, lipase, lysozyme. Okay, ptyalin lipase lysozyme. Ptyalin is present in saliva. Alpha amylase, also called as alpha amylase. It is lipase is also present. That is called lingual lipase, salivary lipase, and there is a lysozyme. There are other lipases. Gastric juice has gastric lipase. Intestinal juice has intestinal lipase. Pancreatic juice has pancreatic lipase. And in the blood vessels also it is there lipoprotein lipase. There are I told you nearly five lipases now. And lysozyme is also present in intestinal juice, also consists of lysozyme. Sucrase is present in intestinal juice here. And next one here, this is the okay, sucrase is present in the intestinal juice. The saliva secreted by the salivary glands contain enzymes like salivary amylase, and that converts starch into the saliva secreted by the salivary glands contains enzymes like salivary amylase that converts starch into a disaccharide that breaks down triglycerides. Okay, lingual lipase is an enzyme that breaks down triglycerides, and enzyme lysozyme, also called as muramidase. Muramidase or N-acetyl muramidase. Okay, glycon hydrolase digests the gram-positive bacteria cell wall or peptidoglycan. Bacterial cell wall consists of peptidoglycan that is digested by this enzyme hydrolase. That means it is an antibacterial, okay, enzyme which kills the bactericidal enzyme which kills the bacteria present in our ingested food. It is also present in our intestinal juice produced by the Paneth cells. It was asked in the previous NEET exam. Okay, right. Another one. Let us move on to the next one. That is 18th one. Which of the following is not associated with the innermost mucosa layer of the small intestine? Okay, first of all, you should know what are the four layers. Every one of you know that. Okay, outermost serosa, then followed by muscularis externa, submucosa, and mucosa are the four layers present in the wall of the alimentary canal. Okay, here they asked which part of the alimentary canal. They are asking the small intestine. Which of the following is not associated with the innermost mucosal layer of the small intestine? The innermost layer in the small intestine, that is mucosal epithelium, is present. Mucosal epithelium forms the intestinal glands because between the two villi there is at the base of the two villi, okay, there is a mucosa forms a pit that is called crypts of Lieberkühner intestinal glands. And those villi also consist of the cells in the wall of the villi consists of microvilli. Okay, those microvilli, that means the brush border, which consists of enzymes called brush border enzymes. Can you name the brush border enzymes? What are they? Also, what do we call the those brush border enzymes are also called as, can you remember that? If not, learn that. They are also called as disaccharidases. Disaccharidases. What are those three enzymes? Sucrase, maltase, lactase. Sumala. You can remember with the trick called Sumala. Sucrase, maltase, lactase. Sucrase is also called invertase. It was asked in the previous NEET exam. You learnt in chemistry also that one. Okay, the duodenal glands and goblet cells are also present between the. Okay, if you see in the wall of the villus. Okay, in the villus there are the wall consists of simple columnar epithelial cells, and among those cells, between those cells, okay, here and there are goblet cells which produce mucus. And next one, duodenal glands are present in the submucosa. They are also called submucosal glands or Brunner glands. They are present in the submucosa of submucosa of duodenum, not mucosa. Okay, these all are associated with the mucosa of the small intestine. Innermost mucosa layer of the small intestine. Okay, the intestine has mucosal epithelium which is modified to form intestinal glands. Crypts of Lieberkühn and area of maximum reabsorption. It also contains goblet cells to secrete mucus, and duodenal glands or Brunner glands are located in the submucosal layer.